What's up, YouTube? It's your boy Nash here. Welcome back to the channel. Before we get into today's video, guys, we are 8 subs away from 200. We are drawing so close to the goal of 200 subs. I know we can do it, guys. 200 subs before the summer comes to an end. I know we can do it, guys. All we need is 8 people to subscribe to the channel, and we will have officially hit 200 subs. And the moment we get to 200 subs, I am going to open up this Korean Strike of Neos booster box in its entirety on the channel, on the hopes to potentially pull this guy, Elemental Hero Air Neos, the so-called forbidden Yu-Gi-Oh card. Is it really forbidden? I'll let you guys be the judge of that. Now, if this channel gets to 500 subs, I will open up this Korean LOB booster box in its entirety on the channel. Excuse me. That I got from my partners over at Collector Store, so be sure to check them out. Link and address will be in the description below. By checking them out, not only does it support them, it also supports the channel, and I would greatly appreciate it. On the hopes to potentially pull a Blue Eyes White Dragon, a Dark Magician, a Red Eyes Black Dragon, a piece of Exodia. The possibilities are out there, you guys. However, if this channel gets to 1,000 subs, I will open up this first edition Toon Chaos box in its entirety on the channel that I also got from my partners at Collector Store, on the hopes of to potentially pull my second ever Collector's Rare, because it wouldn't be the first time that I pulled a Collector's Rare, because I also pulled this, a Collector's Rare Beat Cup from the Underworld, fresh out of my Genesis Impact box opening that I did about a few months ago. This thing looks absolutely beautiful, and judging by the centering, it has the potential to become a PSA 10, so who knows? Ooh, excuse me. Who knows? But if you guys want to see those boxes get opened, maybe you guys want more episodes of WWE's Biggest Issue, maybe you guys want more episodes of Yu-Gi-Oh's Biggest Issue, deck profiles, card discussions, WWE topic videos, or maybe, just maybe, you guys want, excuse me, some premium live event predictions and results. Well, if you guys want all of that and more, my channel is the place to be. So if you guys are new to the channel, and I know that a lot of you guys are, make sure you guys subscribe to the channel, turn on the notification bell, follow me on all of my social media. My ads will be in the description below, as will the info to my fan mail. It will also be in the description as well. And I want you guys to post in the comments below answering the question of the day. And I know that this has nothing to do with today's video, but I'm curious, what archetype do you guys want to see get new support? Let me know down in the comments below, because for today's video, we're gonna take a step back away from Age of Overlord and focus on the first of 3 new archetypes that will be in Valiant Smashers, known as Memento. And I'm gonna be honest, this is actually my second time actually trying to film this, just because of the fact that there were like so many cards to talk about. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. There are literally 11 cards to talk about in this video, you guys. And my phone, the camera on my phone just lost. So I couldn't the first time. The second time will be the charm, so I'm not gonna waste any time. Let's get straight into it. Kicking things off, we have our first card, which is the boss monster of this deck. It is known as Memento Teku Talika, the Nether Skull Dragon. I know I butchered the name. I apologize, but it's based off of the Aztec, based off of the Aztecian history, I guess, if you will. It is an 11-star Earthworm with 5,000 attack and defense, and it says that it cannot be normal summon or set, and that it must be special summoned from your hand or grave by shuffling 5 other Memento monsters with different names from your hand or grave into the deck or extra deck. So there will be an extra deck at some point, but we don't really know exactly when we'll be getting that kind of support. Maybe in a set like Phantom Nightmare, perhaps, or perhaps maybe in another perhaps in another side set. I don't know. But the first effect reads that if you control no other monsters, this card can attack all opponent's monsters once each. So in a way, it sort of has the Chimera Tech Over Dragon like effect, where it can just wipe the board clean. And the best part is that with the fact that this card has a 5,000 attack, you can easily, if you pair this card off with, with the Quick Play spell, with the Quick Play spell Memento Bone Party, that right there is pretty powerful, because Bone Party can banish itself from the graveyard, and if any of your monsters battle an opponent's monster that's in defense, piercing is inflicted. So that's pretty nuts. And with the fact that this card has 5,000 attack, that's pretty nuts. That's pretty nuts, because this card has the potential to push for game, and that right there is just crazy on its own. The second effect reads that once per turn, if your opponent activates a card or effect, you can special summon a Memento monster from your hand or grave. So this basically has the effect of a Cyber Rev system, where you can just automatically summon a monster from your hand or graveyard, and you can instantly just go into some of your other plays, depending on what your extra deck looks like. But again, because that we don't know what extra monsters we're gonna get as some down the road, for all we know, this could potentially be an Xyz based extra for all we know. Only time will tell, but still, that's pretty nuts. Next up, we have Memento Horned Dragon, which actually looks very similar to Tri-Horned Dragon, which is pretty funny. Which is an 8-star Dark Dragon with 2850 attack, 2850 attack, 2350 defense, and both of its effects are once per turn. The first effect reads if you have 3 or more Memento monsters with different names in your grave, you can special summon this card from your hand. It's a Cyber Dragon. It's basically a Cyber Dragon. Yes, it does need to have a slight condition, but it is a Cyber Dragon, and that's pretty nuts. The second effect reads if this card on the field is destroyed by card effect, you can target 3 face-up cards on the field, including at least 1 Memento card you control, destroy them. So this is a good way to break the opponent's board that could potentially consist of Appaloosa. It could have Axis Code Talker. It could even also have as well Borload Savage Dragon, which I've seen that card come back into the meta very slowly, and who knows? Maybe this card this deck could work with Dragon Links for all we know. Who the hell knows? But still, that's a really powerful card. This is basically the second boss monster of the whole deck, which is pretty cool. Next up, we have Memento Tatsunoto Shigo, I believe is how it's pronounced. 5-star Earth Beast, 1350 attack, 1600 defense. Both of its effects are once per turn. First effect reads: if you control no face-up monsters other than Memento monsters, you can Cyber Dragon this card from your hand. Literally, just Cyber Dragon it to your board, and you're off to the races there. If you're able to keep this card on board, and you have another copy in your hand, you can automatically special summon the second copy, and you can instantly go into your rank 5 plays, and then just make your way up that way, which is pretty nuts. The second effect reads, during your main phase, you can destroy one Memento monster you control, and if you do, send any number of Memento monsters with different names whose total levels are equal to or lower than the destroyed monster's original level from your deck to the graveyard. This is essentially Foolish Burial. That's all it is. It's a Foolish Burial. It's a great way to also send another copy of this card to your graveyard. Activate monster reborn that you would potentially have in your hand. Special summon the second copy, rank 5, right off the bat. Plain simple. That's a pretty that right there is a pretty crazy play to say the very least. Next up, we have Memento Fair Witch, 3-star dark spellcaster. 800 attack, 1000 defense. Both of its effects, again, are once per turn. The first effect reads, if this card is normal or special summon, you can add one Memento monster from your deck to your hand, except this card. Second effect reads, you can target one level 2 or lower Memento monster in your grave. Destroy one Memento monster you control, and if you do, special summon the targeted monster. Excuse me, so again, basically it combos off very well with the Tatsuno Toshigo, where if you send another copy of itself to the graveyard, you can then normal summon Fair Witch, trigger her second effect, summon out a level 2 or level 1, and you're off to the races there. Again, so the idea would be special summon the 5-star, trigger its effect, Foolish Burial your monsters, normal summon the Fair Witch, activate her first effect, then activate her second effect, in which case you can target another copy of Fair Witch. If you sent another Fair Witch to your graveyard, special summon it, boom, rank 3. Plain simple. Not much else to say about that. But, so again, it's a Stratos Monster Reborn. Plain simple. Enough said. Not much else to say about that. Next up, we have Memento Mace, 1-star Light Fairy, 400 attack, 300 defense. Both of its effects are once per turn. The first effect reads, during your opponent's main phase, if you control Nether Skull Dragon, you can discard this card, target a face-up monster your opponent controls, take control of it until the end phase. Second effect reads, during your main phase, you can destroy one Memento monster you control, and if you do, add one Memento card from your deck to your hand, except this card. So, this is basically enemy controller on steroids. This card is a hand trap enemy controller. Do I even need to say any more? I don't think I do. I don't think I do. That's how crazy this card really is. This is an easy 2. This card right here, my opinion, I think is best suited as a 2 rather than a 3, because I feel like if it's a 3, you might not be able to. You might brick. That's just how I see it. In my personal opinion, that's how I see it. But the last monster to talk about in this video, and then before we get into the back row, we have Memento Goblin, which is a 1-star Dark Fiend, 400 attack and defense. Both of its effects are once per turn. And the first effect reads, during the main phase, if you control Nether Skull Dragon, you can discard this card. Your opponent cannot target Memento monster control with card effects this turn. So it basically just protects your whole board. It protects all of your Memento monsters from card effects during that turn. So this is, and this card right here is 3. Easy 3 of. Enough said. Enough said. Second effect reads during your main phase, you can destroy one memento monster you control, and if you do, send up to 2 memento cards with different names from each other from your deck to the graveyard, except this card. It's basically another Foolish Burial, which is pretty nuts. So, given the fact that Foolish Burial is at 1 in today's meta, this archetype ensures that they have like 10 million Foolish Burials, and you're able to just combo off from there, which is pretty crazy. Which is absolutely crazy. Now we move into the spells, with the field spell being Nether Skull Temple, Mementolin, and this card has 3 separate effects. The first effect reads: if your Memento monster battles your opponent cannot activate spell or trap cards until the end of the damage step. So logically speaking, if this card is on board and you have your Nether Skull Dragon battles, you can easily activate cards like Twin Twister and Cosmic Cyclone during the battle phase, wipe the opponent's back row clean, and they won't be able to have any. They will not have any way to interact, because if you wipe the back row clean during that battle phase, your opponent will just scoop right then and there. Right then and there, go to game 2, and you're off to the races from there. The second effect reads: if a monster you control is destroyed by battle or card effects, target one of them, special summon 1 memento monster with a lower level from your hand or graveyard. So again, this is basically a Monster Reborn. Not much else to say about that. Then again, you really don't need Monster Reborn. You just need these. That's it. The third effect reads: once per turn during your end phase, you can target one memento spell trap in your grave, set it. In this scenario, you really only need like 2 copies of all the spell and traps. So that way you can just keep sending them from your graveyard and just constantly use them over and over and over again, which is pretty crazy. Next up, we have Memento Bone Party, which is a quick play spell. Both of its effects are once per turn. First effect reads: destroy 1 memento monster in your hand or face of field, and if you do, take 1 memento monster with a different name from your deck, either add it to your hand or special summon it in defense. So again, this is basically your Rhoda for the whole deck, but on steroids. And what I mean by that is the second effect, which again, as I mentioned when I talked about the Nether Skull Dragon, if you paired that monster card up with Bone Party, you got a very powerful play. The second effect reads: during your main phase, banish this card from your grave, target 1 memento monster you control. If it attacks a defense position monster this turn, inflict piercing. It can deal a fuck ton of damage, and you basically win. You basically win the entire duel. That's it. Enough said. But next up we have Memento Bone Back, which is a quick play spell, and again, both of its effects are once per turn. The first effect reads: if a face of Memento monster you control leaves the field by your opponent, special summon 1 Nether Skull Dragon from your hand or deck, ignoring its summoning condition. So this is a really good way to just automatically special summon Nether Skull Dragon during the battle phase. In which case, during your opponent's battle phase, in which case, once that card is on board, there's nothing that they can do. All they can do is just go to their main phase 2, set their back row, go into more of their plays, pass their turn, and you're off to the races from there. And what's even more crazy is that with Bone Party, you can activate both effects in the same turn. So the idea would be for you to activate the first effect of Bone Party during your main phase 1, and then banish Bone Party during your battle phase, and just inflict piercing to your opponent, and you're off to the races from there. Especially if you have a Baguska on your side of the field, you can opt to not use Baguska's effect and inflict piercing to your opponent that way, and that right there, you just automatically win, which is absolutely crazy. But the second effect of Bone Back reads if your opponent moves a Memento monster out of your graveyard while this card is in your graveyard, you can banish this card, special summon as many Memento monsters with different names as possible from your hand or deck. This is basically Monster Reborn on steroids, so there really isn't much to say about that card except holy shit. Now we've got only 2 more cards to talk about in this video, and I'm looking at my phone. Oh, we're making progress. That's good. Sorry guys, my phone would not let me film the first time. But before we get into the final 2 cards, I have the question of the day for you guys today. As I had just talked about earlier in the video, what archetype do you guys want to see get new support in the future? Let me know down in the comments below. I'm very curious of what you guys have to say, and also let me know in the comments what your thoughts are on this Memento archetype, and does it have the potential to be a meta deck? Honestly, I think it does. I think it has the potential to be probably one of the most broken decks in the meta. Given how powerful these cards really are, it has that potential. But next up we have Memento Fracture Dance. The first effect reads if you control a Memento monster, target 1 card on the field, destroy it. Then if you control the Nether Skull Dragon, you can destroy 1 more card on the field. This is basically Twin Twister, but it can be not just back row, but it can also be monsters as well. So this is basically Twin Twister for everything, for monsters and back row, even for the field spells, depending on what you want to target the most. The second effect reads when an attack is declared involving your Memento monster and an opponent's monster, banish this card from your grave. All face-up monsters your opponent currently control lose 1,000 attack until the end of the turn. What's even more funny, what I find funny is that this effect paired off with the Nether Skull Dragon plus Bone Party, that right there is probably the best way to not only break your opponent's board, but also if the monsters in defense lose their attack, it's basically GG. It's basically GG. That's insane. That is insane. Not much else to say about that. The last card to talk about is known as Memento Cranium Burst, which is a continuous trap. The first effect reads, your opponent's monsters must attack the Memento monster you control with the highest attack if able while you control any. Nether Skull Dragon is going to be a very powerful monster on board that your opponent's monsters won't be able to destroy. Not much else to say about that. When the second effect reads, when your opponent activates a monster effect on the field, you can target one Nether Skull Dragon you control. It loses exactly 1,000 attack and defense, and if it does, negate that effect. This is kind of interesting, because if you have 2 copies of of the Nether Skull Dragon on board, you basically have what, 10 negates right off the bat. But if you have 3 copies on board, you basically have 15 negates, and your opponent won't be able to do anything at all. All they can do is just scoop. So my thoughts on this archetype, honestly, it's fucking nuts. It is absolutely nuts. The different plays you can make with this archetype, I'm fairly surprised of how powerful this archetype is, because it has the potential to be a meta deck, but it all just depends on how it gets built. You know, if it's built correctly, this deck does have the potential to be a meta contender, but who knows? Only time will tell. We don't know yet. The set has not been released to the general public, not just in the OCG, but in the TCG as well. Who knows? But with that being said, guys, that will do it for today's video. Hopefully you guys enjoyed. If you did, make sure you guys smash that thumbs up button. If you guys are new to the channel and you guys want more card discussions in the future, make sure you guys subscribe to the channel, turn on the notification bell, and follow me on all of my social media. My ads will be in the description below, as will the info to my fan mail. It will also be in the description as well. And on that, this is your boy Nash, signing out.